Hi Alex. Here's what happened. I wrote the script in a week, as I promised. Then I met with Luda and we talked about it, and I described to her like what was going on in the script, and I gave her the script. And then I had second thoughts. As we agreed, I would write a psychological thriller. And it is a psychological thriller. It's called The Insula. It's fast-paced and everything. It has a psychological thriller element in it. However, it's not pure. It's eclectic. Then I decided, okay, why don't I write another one that is going to be like a pure psychological thriller, adhering to all the rules and traditions of the canon. And then I'll send you both. The second one, which comes first now, it's called The Loot. There's almost no deviation from rules, patterns, architectonics. The first one, The Loot, is self-explanatory. Now the second one, as I was talking about it to Luda, she said, definitely, before you send Alex anything, make a little video recording of what you just told me and send it to Alex. That's the second one, the non-standard psychological thriller, The Insula. Okay, The Loot does not need any explanations. The Insula does. An insula was a type of building very common in ancient Rome. They built like loads of them. Rome was studded with them. They were built with trashy materials, mostly garbage, no marble, no sandstone. They were profitable. They could go up to nine floors. You could fit a lot of people in. The great thing about them was that you could take one down and build another one in its place in a week. Well, there were some zoning limitations, of course, like today. Some officials would have to be bribed. But the fact is, there were a lot of them. Insulae, they were called. Now, fast forward 19th centuries, today, New York, and we have some beautiful architecture here. Not as much as Paris, but we do have some pretty interesting buildings, all kinds of buildings, all styles, starting with Gothic Revival, Baroque Revival, Neoclassical, something known as the academic classicism. Massive buildings were all constructed in the beginning of the 20th century. Skyscrapers, modern or Art Deco style. So the Woolworth Building, the Chrysler Building, the Empire State Building. All those are unique. And naturally we have these neighborhoods like Park Avenue or Riverside, where old turn-of-the-century pre-war architecture, it stands out. You walk through the streets and it talks to you, it speaks to you, it has a soul. And of course, we also have insulas. All cities have insulas. So lately in New York, more and more insulas have been going up everywhere, all over Manhattan, and they're all eyesores. And they too have this look like they're temporary. They're temporary dwellings, temporary living arrangements. You look at something like that and you say, hey, this is nice, sort of, for now. Tomorrow we'll take it down and build something better or bigger. And there's some confusion about them because people who live in them actually pay very good money in order to live in them. And so you compensate. You dress it up. You build yourself a marble bathroom. You hang up an original on the sheetrock wall. There's a concert piano in the lobby. But still, compared to the real thing, real houses and real buildings, this looks pathetic. So most of the story takes place inside one of those so-called luxury buildings. The prehistory goes like this. There was once this spot and there was something wrong going on there. Maybe it may have been a cemetery where they buried criminals or whatever, right? Anyway, the place was cursed. Then, on top of that place, they built a church. And there were parishioners, prayer, direct connection to God, and all that neutralized the curse, so the evil powers went away. 150 years later, the church fell into disrepair. The parish had no money to to pay for the landmarking process because that's expensive, that's costly. This construction company bribed the bishop and some of the administration in the city. They knocked the church down and erected this place called the Translucent. It's called a translucent because the facade is all tinted glass. It only has 6 floors and 6 apartments. Each apartment costs, I don't know, 30 to 40 million dollars. Now this great big firm that is part construction firm, part investment bank, part insurance company, part criminal syndicate, they want to take down the Translucent and build something else on that spot, a taller Insula, so they could make more money. The tenants refuse to move out. When stuff begins to happen in that building, people start getting murdered. There are 2 planes of existence there. One is the realistic plane, that's the psychological thriller part. Each murder can and will be explained. It's logical, it stands to reason. There is a reasonable explanation. Some other stuff that is happening in the building cannot be explained at all. And the reason being that time and space inside the Translucent and around it, they're warped a little bit. They're off balance slightly. So a lot of stuff that is happening cannot be explained, and not all of that stuff is really bad. Some of it is scary, and some of it is just curious. Now, here are some things that are important to me personally. There are some props in this movie that are very important, that are very dear to me as a storyteller. Some of them are part of the plot. The chandelier that hangs in the Translucent lobby is modeled after this painting by Adolf Menzel, German painter, 19th century. And, he was in this palace and he looked at the chandelier and he absolutely loved it and he had to paint it. But painting just a chandelier did not make any sense. He had to build a composition and then fit the chandelier in it. So he painted the flute concerto with Frederick the Great. He painted that whole entire picture so that he could also paint the chandelier. So the chandelier that hangs in the lobby is modeled after that one. It eventually will come down, it will fall down, and it will be replaced by something else, a chandelier that's modeled after the one that hangs in the lobby of the Metropolitan Opera House. And that one looks like this. It's it's the designer's idea of how the original Big Bang was supposed to look like. Tosca is an opera by Giacomo Puccini, turn of the century, Verismo. It has 3 acts. There is an aria in the end of the 2nd act. It's very tragic. Portions of that aria are used in the story. The point I'm trying to make here is that they absolutely have to be sung in English. The audience absolutely has to understand every word because those portions are part of the plot. I know that our wonderful artists out there love to sing opera in the original language. In my opinion, that is total bullshit. With a fat lady on the stage and a lot of people in the audience pretending that they understand it and they really feel it. Okay, so the lyrics have to be there and they have to be in English. There is an English language recording of the entire opera. It's part of the series called Opera in English. The recording sucks. It does. It's very slow. It's dragging, and dragging always kills music. Or forever. It's always been like that. You slow it down, you kill it. So it probably would have to be re-recorded. It's not a big deal. It's like just a few lines at the end of the aria when the female character asks, while praying to God, she asks him, why? Why are you doing this to me? I've been good to you. Why? And deep down in her heart, she actually knows why this is happening. Her jealousy is at fault. Her jealousy got her to that point. So that part is important to the Insula story. Officially, the aria is called Visi d'arte. The one point I'm trying to make here also is that the story is very fast-paced. So the opera fragment that is used as part of the story should not distract the audience, should not slow things down. It has to be performed properly, the way the composer wanted it to be performed. Another piece of music that is used in the Insula story is from the same opera, Tosca. It's from the same scene, actually. It's the little intro orchestral fragment there. I call it the tension theme. Puccini's music is flexible. I'm not a great fan of the so-called variations or interpretations, but Puccini is really flexible. So if the tension theme does not sound tense enough when it's played, it can be tinkered with. There's a thousand different ways to play a Puccini melody. In this case, three more, I think, pieces of music that are used in this story as plot devices. One is the Revenge duet from Verdi's Rigoletto. It's someone's ringtone. Someone's telephone begins to ring, and that's the ringtone. The other one is Carmen. The theme from Carmen, Habanera, because the character who's supposed to show up is called Carmen. And there's also one thing that the lawyer plays on the piano, and that's Chopin's Nocturne in E flat. The portrait that hangs in the lobby is a work by Whistler, the great American painter of the 19th century, the one who inspired all the Impressionists that came after him. That is the portrait of Rosa Corder. It is beautiful. It's typical Whistler. There's the figure, and it stands. Look, the back is turned to the audience, and that's how Whistler painted many of his portraits. He was short-sighted, and he would refuse to wear glasses. He was embarrassed, whatever, because he was a dandy. And whenever he painted, whether it was a man or a woman that he painted, he would put in a few strokes, then come very close to the model and look very closely at the portion that he was painting. The other painting, it hangs in the conference hall where the tenants gather in order to discuss the situation because they're all scared out of their wits, is Vermeer's Milkmaid. It comes crashing down in the middle of the conference. So having said all that, and having fulfilled Luda's wishes about this, and having followed Luda's commands and orders and everything, thank you for your time and patience, and enjoy. Thank you.